Hello everyone, welcome to the Azure Learning Series. This is Lakshit Pant from Azure Developer Community, and I hope you all are doing great. And welcome to the day sixth of Azure Learning Series. And today we are going to talk about Microsoft Azure Identity and Access Management. And we have our expert speaker, Ms. Diksha Verma, ma'am, and she'll be teaching you around how to use Azure Identity Access Management, exactly why there is a need of identity and access management and how you can use it and all these things. And also she will give you a quick give walk around Azure portal as well, like what it looks like to work with roles and in Microsoft Azure. She's an incredible community person. She has been doing multiple. She is multi-cloud certified. Also, she has been really doing a great community work with herself as well. So I'm not going to waste much of your time. I'll just quickly pass on the mic to Diksha ma'am. What to you, ma'am?
Yeah, thank you, Lakshit. Thank you for inviting me and introducing me. So,
Thank you,
hello
ma'am.
everyone, and welcome to the session. So, let me share my screen so we can get started.
Sure, ma'am.
Yes, so I hope my screen is visible.
Not yet. Yes, it's visible, ma'am.
Yeah. So as we know, like in day six series of Microsoft Azure Learning, we are going to talk about Microsoft Azure Identity and Access Management side. So on this perspective, we will talk about okay, what are the different access and what are the different security constraints that we have. So we'll start from very basic in this one to get some idea. So before that, like let me introduce first of all myself. So myself, Diksha Sharma, and I'm Microsoft certified trainer, and also I am cloud solution architect and DevOps engineer and a data engineer domain. So I am delivering training also on the different key aspects area. And if we talk about today's topic, so these are the outline for today's topic, where we are going to start with Microsoft Azure Identity Service. What is multi-factor authentication? What is a secure sign-on? And what is RBAC? What is logs and other key features that we have on Azure that we are going to talk about. And if we start first of all with the Microsoft Azure identity, so and this is the objective or maybe outcome. So after this webinar, you will be understand what is the difference between the authentication and the authorization. What is the Azure Active Directory that you are going to be used, and what is basically functionality that you have. Okay, how your SSO and MFA is needed, or maybe how and why we need to set up. Okay, so we'll try to show you on the portal side also. But before that, let's start with the fundamental concept about the identity side. So before getting started, first of all, we need to understand what is difference between the authentication and the authorization. Generally, we understand okay, both the things are same. Okay, if we are authenticating or we are authorizing, both the things are same. But no, authentication and authorization both are two different things. Okay, on that basis, we are going to access or authorize ourselves to a particular service. For example, like if you are entering into your on premises, like if you are entering into office or you are entering into your college, so you have a two different accepts. Okay, the first thing is like if you are entering into the office, you have a one employee ID card. Okay, so if you are part of that organization, you have that employee ID card. With the help of that, you are going to authenticate yourself to enter into that organization. If you don't have that employee ID card, you are not able to enter into that, right? So that is the first thing, that okay, to identify who you are and you belongs to that organization. So with the help of this authentication, employee ID card, you are going to authenticate yourself that okay, yes, I belongs to this one. That after that, from which sector you are, okay, what is your job role? Like you are working into HR department, you are not going to access some other area. Okay, if you are working here, after into entering into the office premises, you have a different roles has been defined as per your job profile. Like okay, there could be a server guy also, there could be IT guy also, there could be HR guy also. So it depends. okay, what job role you have and what you need to do, okay, because every employee has their employee ID card, but on that basis what job role you have, because a guy is going to sit into the server room, okay, they are not going to sit into the HR room. Same as a HR guy is going to enter into the office, after that they are not going to sit into the server room, right, because that is not their job role. So as per their job role, they are going to do their certain tasks or their certain allocated access they have. On that basis they are going to authorize themselves that okay, what level of access they have, okay. So first of all we are going to authenticate you that okay, who you are, and then after that in the authorization we are going to authorize that okay, what level of job roles we have, okay. So authentication is the first thing when you are going to log in, like the same concept on the Azure also, like the way I have given the example for entering into the office, you need one employee ID card to authenticate yourself. So same over here, if you are going to enter into the Azure portal or in the Azure environment, you need particular ID to log in, okay, because I also have a access, or maybe I also have account on Azure and you also have, but still we cannot access each other services, okay, we cannot access each other resources. Why? Because we are authenticating for our own subscription, we are authenticating to our own directory, right. So first of all, for authentication we are going to use the ID, okay, to on that do you have access or not. So basically authentication is basically the person to who is trying to access that particular service, resource, or anything. So on the basis of that we are going to set up some particular rules definition, okay, that the person should have going to authenticate with their ID. Then once you authenticate, then after authentication what level of access you have, what is your job role. It might be happen that you are working as a reader side, okay, you just need to read the services. It might happen you need to create some services, okay, you need to manage the services. So as a reader, it's not necessary you need a like write operation also, okay, if you just need to read the services or to access the services to just to fetch the information, so in that case reader access is sufficient for you. Then on top of that, okay, now I am working as a data engineer or maybe as a developer, so in that case I need to perform some certain tasks where I can create, delete, update, manage the services. So obviously reader will role will not be sufficient for me. So in that case we will go with the contributor role or maybe writer or some customized role. So authorization means what level of roles you have, that we are going to refer as the RBAC, that we will discuss in the upcoming session or upcoming slides. So in this case here, once you authenticate with your ID, then what job roles you have, on that basis you are going to authenticate. Okay, what level of access has been given to you. Okay, you are owner of that particular service, you have a contributor level of access, you have a reader level of access only. On that basis you are going to authorize, okay, and you are going to access that particular service. That will come under the authorization side. So these are the two different things. Generally people will think that okay, authentication and authorization are same, but no, authentication is a different and authorization about the level of access has been given to you. Okay, now moving on to the next. Here another topics we have is the Azure multi-factor authentication. So here multi-factor authentication that we refer as a MFA also. Generally, if you are working in the any project or in any organization, whenever you log in into your Microsoft account, okay, it is going to ask you first your email ID and then password. Then after that, it is going to ask you to okay share the either we will send you some OTP on your phone or maybe you are going to use the Authenticator app. Generally, everyone is using Authenticator app. Okay, that is also Microsoft one. So here there are some other apps also available like Okta or maybe you have a Zing. So different tools are available now here. First of all, why we need this one more layer of authentication? Okay, it means like okay, generally what happens is whenever we are going to open any website, we generally set up your username and password and save. So by default, the in the cookies or in the cache memory, your username and password is set. So if anyone is to make one more layer of security, we are going to enable one more layer of authentication. So with the help of call or maybe with the help of text or with the help of any app, you are going to authenticate to yourself that okay, you are the correct person who has the correct credentials to access that particular service. Now generally as I given you example authenticator app or maybe you will get a OTP. So yes, you know your username and password, you have entered your username and password, but on top of that you are going to receive an OTP on the registered mobile number to make sure that okay, this is the correct person who is trying to access. Or maybe you are going to pop up in your authenticator app to allow yourself that okay, you are the correct person. So that's why if you see that okay, something you know that you are going to be passed, something you possess, and something you are, okay, because the phone that is you have registered for authentication, that is only belongs to you, and OTP or the pop-up you are going to receive on your phone itself to validate okay, this is the correct user, okay, although the username and password you have provided, but apart from that here one more layer of security we are can implement with the help of multi-factor authentication. Okay, now here only not a username and password is not sufficient, you should be connected through your phone also, okay, for the security and identity purpose over here. Okay, that is one thing. Now that is on the MFA part. Now the second you have is the Azure Active Directory. Okay, so what is Azure Active Directory is, so generally okay, if we have already talked about okay, what is Azure, okay, you have a subscription resource group, the proper hierarchy that you have. But in that case, within your organization, within your project, you do have a multiple users are available. Okay, for example, within my team I do have a data scientist also, I do have some DevOps guy also, I do have some data analyst also, I do have developer also, I have security guy also, I have admin guy also, I have data engineers also. So in that case, how we are going to add someone in our directory, okay, how we are going to add some new user in my project, or how I'm going to remove someone from the project, okay, how I'm going to manage the access, okay, so everything we are going to manage through Active Directory. Okay, so if you are part of the project, you should be part of that directory. So you need to first thing is add yourself in the directory. Okay, generally admin guy is going to given the correct access, because as a user or maybe as a developer you don't have a direct privileges to access the directory or to add a new user. So what we generally do is okay, like the directory admin guy is going to manage all the users, groups, applications, everything under the Active Directory. Okay, any new user add or remove, any group need to be create or delete, any application need to be added or removed, everything is going to be take care under Azure Active Directory. With the help of this Azure Active Directory, we are going to do the your user management, access management, application management, okay, your authentication side, okay, or you are going to connect with some application. Like for example, as a user I do have my email ID, I can add my ID into the directory, and I can grant the relevant access whatever is needed for me. But the thing is, okay, I want to connect to Power BI. Power BI is not a user. Power BI doesn't have an email address, right? So how a Power BI is going to connect to your Azure, right? Still, we need to connect your Power BI to access the data that is available on Azure platform. It could be on the storage or it could be in the SQL. But as I do have email ID, I can register myself and I can grant the relevant access. But the thing is here, on Power BI side, Power BI is not any user. Okay, Power BI doesn't has any email ID. So how I'm going to grant the access to Power BI? So I'm going to register Power BI as an application under my Azure Active Directory. And after that, here I'm going to create some service principal and grant the relevant access. So if you want to add some application, remove the application, or you want to grant some like register some application to grant the relevant access, so that also we will do under the Active Directory. So this is just some scenario, but yes, Active Directory is a basically entire identity, okay, management service where all the users access, everything is going to be managed. Okay, any device access, SSO, everything is going to be managed. And what is the SSO? Single sign on. Like if you are using multiple applications or multiple services, so every time you do not need to go and access or log in. Okay, one time you have to log in and one time you have to sign in, and after that you can use it. Okay, so you do not need to use every time, you do not need to log in every time in the all the different applications. Single sign on will work for all the application that you are going to use on Azure. Okay, so with the help of Azure Active Directory, it is going to manage all this access related thing, authentication related thing, okay, or the communication and the configuration between the different applications, users, group, everything will going to be managed under your Azure Active Directory. Okay, now the next is the conditional access. That is also generally we will maintain in the project side. Okay, what happen is if I give you one more scenario on this is, um, for example, I want to grant you access on the SQL side, you can go ahead and access the SQL DB. But before that, I want to make sure again over here that okay, you are the correct user, and I want to add one more layer of security. So I can give you a conditional access. Okay, yes, you know your username password. You can go ahead and put the password. But apart from that, I want you to be authenticated. Also, generally we put a condition that okay, if you belongs to that certain IP address or you belongs to that certain network, then only you can access your SQL DB. Okay, like here generally in the project side, you need to connect the VPN. Without connecting VPN, you are not able to log in into the database. Why? Because here once you are connecting with the VPN, your IP address will change, and your IP address will belongs to that particular location from there your clients belong to. So in such scenario here, your VPN is going to be help give you an additional access. Okay, additional layer you have added over here before accessing your SQL DB. So the same thing over here is okay. I want to access the SQL DB. I do have a username and password, but directly I cannot access. For that, the constraint is or the condition is you have to connect with the VPN. Okay, one more additional condition I have put before connecting through the SQL DB, you need to connect through VPN. Also, the another scenario is okay, I want to connect with the SQL DB, but before that, I need to pass your MFA. We need to implement. Okay, you need to authenticate before accessing the database. You need to authenticate yourself with MFA, multi-factor authentication that we talk about. Okay, you need to get the OTP on your phone and then you need to register to whitelist. So the condition you need to put okay to identify that okay the person, because database is something that is going to contain some secure or sensitive information. Same on the Azure platform also, if you are maintaining your data and everything, so we don't want that okay it should be accessible for all the users. So that's why we are going to apply additional layer that okay user cannot directly access all the services although they have required access on their ID, but the thing is they need to follow the certain constraint. Okay, they need to follow certain condition before moving further. What it is that okay either you need to authenticate through MFA. Okay, MFA authentication is required, or here you need to connect through the VPN to access through a particular network, or you need to use a particular device. Okay, so that will be a particular one. If you see this diagram here, if you are connecting, you have provided username and password, so you need additional access we have put up is require MFA over here. Okay, so with the help of MFA, if you see in this case here, if you are going to be allow the MFA, so in that case the person should be able to connect through the MFA. If no, in that case you are not able to connect with the particular service. So conditional access will be helpful okay if the user is going to authenticate okay or going to be connected, but yes, before that they need to follow some certain areas, right? That is your conditional access. Okay, now next is your RBAC. So RBAC, as we talk about, okay, RBAC stand for role-based access control. Okay, RBAC full form stand for role-based access control, and that we are going to use to what level of access you need for authorization. Okay, what level of access you need, that we are going to discuss. So for that, let me give you a walkthrough on the portal side first of all. Yes. So I'm going to create one resource group.
Ma'am, for this one, your screen is not visible for this demo.
Okay, just a minute. I just logged out from portal. Yes. So let me reshare. Okay, so for example, we are over here. Okay, we
Yes,
are
ma'am.
on the Microsoft Azure. So for example, we have created one resource group, and this is my resource group site. Let me open. Okay, so I have already one, so I'm going to use this. So in this resource group, okay, you can see access control that will be come under the identity access management. Okay, so here you can see I want to check what level of access I have, and I want to grant someone access. How can I do so? Okay, and what are the different roles we have available? So you can give the access at a subscription level, you can give the access at a resource group level, and you can give the access at a resource level also. So it depends on what granular level you want to give the access or to manage. But here, this option you have available at every stage. Okay, so for example, see here, if I go to the subscription also, so on that also you have the option to grant the access. See, here also you can manage. So if I'm giving you access at a subscription level, it means you do have a part of you have access on the resource group level too, because your resource group belongs to subscription. Okay, and you have access at a resource level too. So we know, okay, the hierarchy. First you have a subscription, then after that you have a resource group, then after that you have a resource. So if you have access at a subscription level, you do have access at a resource group and resource too. But if I'm giving you access at a resource group level, you cannot access the entire subscription, you cannot access other resource group. If I'm giving you access for one resource group, you can access only that. And within that, whatever resources belongs to, you can access that too. So here for that, you can see we have a access control IAM. If you go inside this one, first of all you have option to check my access. Okay, it means what level of access you have. So you can click on this view my access and you can check what level of access you have. So you can see I have a service administrator level of access, and inside that you can see the description also mentioned that okay, we have a full access on the subscription level. Now within this here, I want to check the access for someone else within my teammate or something like that. So here we can click on this check access and you can type it out that person name to whom you want to check the access under this. So I don't have anyone in the subscription, so that's why I will not be able to show you okay anyone. But yes, you can check some other services name over here also. You can check the access for services too, at what level of access this service is. So you can see nothing is coming up. The service doesn't have any. So you can check the access for user for a particular service also over here. Then you want to add, or maybe you want to grant access to someone else, you can click on this add. And here you can add someone else. So you can see I want to add a role assignment, or I want to add some co-administrator, or I want to give you some custom role. I don't want to go with the zero defined role. I want to give you some custom role that also you can create. So here if you click on this add role assignment, inside this one, here you do have a different type of different level of roles you have available. You can see these are the list of roles. On that I'm talking about. So first of all, as per the roles we are going to define what level of roles you have. As per that we are going to define. So that's why that we are referring as a RBAC, role based access control. Okay, that we are going to refer as a RBAC, that stand for role based access control. Now here what will be your role, okay, or what will be your working side, okay, on that basis I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you that that level of access. So as I mentioned, okay, you just need to read that particular service, we can give you read a level of access. So if you know that okay, I just need to connect with some services to fetch the information, I do not need to modify the services, or I do not need to modify into the resources. I can simply access that resources and I can access fetch the information. So you can go with the reader level is sufficient. Okay, you can view all the resources but cannot do the any changes. Contributor level, here contributor level means here we are going to give the complete access on all the resources, where you can create the services, you can manage the services, delete the services, okay, all the operations you can perform. But you cannot grant the access to any other user over here. As a contributor we cannot grant the access to any other user. For granting access to other user, we you need at least the owner level of access. Owner level means here owner can also perform all the tasks that is going to be done by the contributor. Okay, so if you see the description, both the side here, both can perform all the operations. Okay, owner and contributor, but the difference is here owner can support RBAC also. It means owner can add you, remove you, or owner can grant you access to. If you have owner level of access on Azure, then only you can add, manage access for other users. But if you have a contributor, then only you can create, manage the services over here. Okay, so you can manage grant services in this section, and here with the help of contributor you can. Apart from that, here we do have some specific service level access also. Like for example here, you are working as a data engineer, so in that case you are going to access all the services that you have. So I'll give you contributor, so in that case you can access all the resources that you have. On the specific subscription level, if I'm granting you can access everything, all the services. If I'm granting you at a resource group level, okay, so you can access all the services that belongs to that resource group only. And if I'm granting you contributor on that resource level, then you can access that resource on. So here, if I don't want to grant you for all the resources over here, so here we have a resource specific also available. Like for example, if you guys have seen, okay, these are the different resource services we have available. So I want to grant you on a service bus level access. Okay, we have a one service on the service bus, or I want to grant you for some other services. Let me go to the next page. So we can see for the SQL maybe, or we can see for, yeah, you can see I want to give you only for storage. Okay, blob storage level. So I'm going to give you only storage blob data contributor level of access. Okay, so here although you have a 10 different services, but I'm granting you access for storage blob data contributor. In that case, you are only going to access this storage blob data. That's it. Okay, if you have a storage and then data factory both, you cannot access data factory if you have only this access in the same resource group. Okay, so here you can give the access at a resource level also, that I have a 200 different services and I want you to access only one service, so I can choose for which service you want access, and on that perspective I can give, right? So with the help of that here, so for example, I want to give you for SQL side, so I can choose, okay, you can only access SQL, although I'm adding you at a subscription level, but whatever SQL belongs in that subscription, you can only access those. Apart from SQL, no. So here you can give SQL DB contributor level of access, where only SQL database you are going to access and connect or perform the certain operations. So these are the different roles that need to be defined as per your working, okay, as per adding or maybe as per your job roles. Like the same as example I have given earlier, that okay, HR guy will be going to be sitting to their location, server admin guy is going to sit into the server room. So they have their predefined job roles. As per that, they are going to perform the certain task. So same thing over here, what will be your job roles? On that basis, the certain level of access or certain level of um, jobs or RBAC need to be choose, and that need to be given. That is going to be come under your RBAC side. So you can choose that, okay, what level of access you need, or you can select also over here. So here you can see if you are going to be in first, or let me, yeah. So here you can see if we are going on the first, and for example, if I'm giving someone as a contributor level, it is a most privileged access where people can perform all the operation, because I'm not restricting over here for any specific service. Okay, I'm not specific restricting that to go with a SQL only, to go with a storage only. Okay, I'm not restricting over here for any specific service. Contributor means all the resources you can access over here. So if I'm granting someone as a contributor, so I'm going to click on next. Now here you can choose that, okay, I want to give the access to any user, to any group, or to any service principal. Service principal also, as I mentioned, okay, if you are going to register any application in the Active Directory, so on the app registration, you are going to create some service principals. And same, you want to give some manage identity access. So that you can choose, and here you have the option to select that particular user to whom you want to grant the access. So here you can select that particular user. So as I mentioned in my subscription, I don't have any other users. So you can just type it out their name and search for the particular one. You can select for service also. Like here, for example, if I'm searching for the ADF itself, so here you can see it is a service. It's not an user, it's a service. So you can grant the service, you can grant access to any application or service also. So you can simply click on select. Now here once you select that, okay, this is the user. So right now I'm going on a user level, that okay, this is the user, and on that I'm going to grant the access. Now you want to give some description for that user about, you can give it over here, and then click on the next. Now here this will be your summary page, that okay, to whom you have added, and subscription ID and all this detail. So I'm granting access to the application at a subscription level. You can say scope is basically at which level you are setting up the configuration. So this is my service name, and I'm granting the access to this level. Okay, and then here once you click on this review and assign, now for that data factory, earlier we have seen there is no access has been granted to that particular data factory, right? But now if I'm going to click on, now this is saved, okay, role has been added. So if I'm going to check the access for your data factory, we are going to click on ADF. Now here you can see we are going to See, now ADF has a contributor level of access. Earlier there is no access is coming up for this data factory, but now we have added, so that's why here you can see one access has been showing for this data factory over here. Now that is one thing, okay. And apart from that, here we'll talk about, okay, what is Active Directory also. So here you can see, I'll just give you idea on this Active Directory also. Now this is your Active Directory where basically it belongs to one tenant where all the users, you can see in the left panel here we have a users. You can manage all the users that belongs to this one. Okay, so as I mentioned, only one user we have, so that's why one name is coming up. Now within that you want to see, okay, how many groups are created. So why we need a group over here is, okay, so what happen is, for example, within my team I do have a different member teammates available. Some members need reader level of access, some member needs a writer level of access, okay, and some of them may need a contributor, okay, or some of them need only for a storage. So I already give you a walkthrough what are the different roles we have. So it's not like for all the users we are going to give them a same level of access. No, it depends completely, as I mentioned, as per the RBAC we are going to give them a certain level of access. So here we can choose, here, like for example, within my team I have a 200 different members, and I don't want to give them directly to access to my service. And if I'm going to grant them access, 200 email ID I need to take, and then I need to grant the access. And later on, if any user left the organization or maybe change the project or something like that, so I need to remove that user from that particular access. So here, instead of managing the access on an individual person level or individual user level, what we will do is we are going to manage the access by groups. So what I can do is I can simply create the groups over here. Okay, I can create the group, for example, over here on the contributor side, and I can add my teammates. Like I can add all the contributor belongs to this one. Okay, so this will be a contributor group. Here you can add the description, you can add who will be the owner of this group, who will be the member of this group. So you can create the groups under this. Now another one is I want to create another group is for reader. So here whoever need reader level of access, I am going to add those person under this. You can add again owner and member under this. So in that case, I am not going to grant the access to all the user on the same. Okay, now I'm not going to take those users email ID also individually to give again to the IAM and give the required access. Instead of that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this group, and this time I'm going to give the access at a group level. Okay, so now if I go to this one, my subscription again. Okay, and now earlier what I've done is for this ADF I've only given the access to one application. Now what happen is I'm going to grant the access to the group level, so whoever belongs to that group automatically they will get the access. So again I'm going to give the contributor level of access. Now this time I'm going to select the member as a your the group is coming up now, so I'm going to choose the contributor group. Now here whoever belongs to this group, as I am granting the access at a group level, so whoever belongs to this group they will also get the directly access over here. So I'm going to click on review and assign. So now I do not need to give the access individual user this time. Instead of that, I'm going to whoever will join my team or maybe to whoever I want to give the access. So I'm going to take their ID and I'm going to add them in the respective group. Okay, so if you are part of that particular respective group, so in that case, yes, you can access that particular service also. So I do not need to manage the access as an individual user. I'm going to manage the access as an individual group. With the help of this group, I can create the group and I can add the members in the group, and they are going to be, you just need to add the members in the group. You do not need to grant the access separately. If you are part of this group, in that case, they will directly get a contributor level of access. If you want to revoke the access, you can remove that person from the group. You can simply go inside this and you can add more users. As of now, there is no user, right? So you can simply add the members over here. Okay, and you can remove the members later. So this is your Active Directory where you can manage. Same like here, if you want to add some application, okay, so here you can see all the external identities and everything. Now here you want to do register some application like the Power BI example which I given to you. that okay, Power BI I want to register as an application where I can connect. So here you can see simply Power BI one service principal you can create that I created earlier. But yeah, here you can see you simply create the service principal where you can register your application over here. Okay, and then you can give and you can provide that all the details with respect to that. Okay, what will be the application you have? Okay, how you want to connect. So all the details you can put, and then with the help of this access also your once your application is registered, you can create the service principal and you can manage the access also at a application level. So here all the identity access management, okay, entering the applications, registering the users, all the operations you are going to perform under your particular identity management. And within this also you have a conditional access option available. Conditional access here, what particular user need to be done, right? As we discussed that okay, before connecting to SQL DB you have to connect with the virtual VPN. Okay, so with the help of that you can see this is also some particular condition they have given. When any user is outside the company network, they require to connect with the multi-factor authentication, right? That we have seen on the slide part also. So whenever if you are not in the like office premises, you are doing work from home, so you have to do the multi-factor authentication or maybe you need to connect. So you can see when user in the management manager group, then in that case they need Intune complement, okay, or domain joint device. So these are the different conditions you can put while connecting or maybe while performing the authentication or to granting the access. So on that basis you can set up your policy, okay, and you can configure your own conditional access over here. And same way here you can set up the your authentication also, like multi-factor authentication to be followed and other operations that we have. Also if we go back, I guess there are few more topics are left apart from our back. Yes. So yeah, one more thing that we have is the yeah. So this is on the RBAC side that we have seen. So in Active Directory, you have a subscription, you have a resource group. Okay. So in the Active Directory, you are going to add the users, you are going to add the application, register the application that I shown you. Okay. And you are going to create the group. So groups also I shown you. So within the Active Directory, you are going to manage users, apps, user groups, okay, or applications, okay, identity, access management, okay, these things you are going to manage under the Active Directory. And within Active Directory you have a subscription that belongs to, so it might happen you are part of the directory but you don't have any level of access, so you need to go with the RBAC over here. So if I'm granting you access over here at a RBAC level, then in that case you have the access on all the resource group. Okay. And within subscription you do have a resource group, you have a resource group 1 for example, and you have a resource group 2 for example. Okay, and within this resource group you do have different services are available, for example, okay, multiple services you have available. So if I'm giving you access, okay, at which level on that particular certain operations you can perform, like for example if I'm giving you access on the subscription level, so if I'm adding you over here, in that case you are able to access both the resource group, you can access this also and you can access this also, because I'm giving you at a parent level. Okay, subscription is a parent over here. So if I'm giving you access at a subscription level, in that case whatever resource group belongs to that subscription you can access all those. But again it depends what level of access you are given and conditional access you have applied on it. So here if you have access at a subscription level, the scope you have set it is a subscription, then in that case here you are able to access the resource group that belongs to the same subscription. But no, I have not given you access at a subscription level. Instead of that, I have given you access at a resource group 1 level, for example, or maybe resource group 2 level. So if I'm adding you over here, okay, at a resource group 2 on this case, so if I'm going to add you in this case, you cannot access resource group 1 because I have restricted your access on this area only. Okay, I have restricted your area under resource group 2, so in that case you can only access resource group 2. So whatever resource belongs over here, okay, 1 2, so all the resources that belongs to this resource group can be accessible over here. Okay, but whatever belongs over here in the resource group 1, that you cannot access, because we have defined the granularity. Okay, I'm not giving you access at a subscription level, I'm giving you at a RG level. So within this resource group, if I'm adding you in the second one, so whatever resource belong to this one, you do have access. Also, the another thing is, if I am not giving you access at a resource group level, okay, Okay, I am going to add you at a resource level. Okay, I am maybe adding you over here. So you cannot access other services if I am giving you access for this. Okay, if I am adding you, for example, a storage level, that is one resource, so you can only access that resource. So you can maintain granularity. Okay, it depends how much access or maybe what are the access you need. On that basis you can perform the certain task. So you can give the access at a subscription level 2, you can give the access at a resource group level 2, or you can give the access at a resource level 2. And you can manage the users, okay, application, groups, identity, access, conditional access over here at a active directory level. So now if anyone need to add a new user, they need to first add the user under the directory level. Okay, now, okay, so one more topic we have is the resource lock. So what is resource lock is? Resource lock means, okay, I want that, okay, particular operations to be performed, but on that I want to put some restrictions. What it is that, okay, we have a two type of lock available. That, okay, first thing is you cannot delete. Second is you can only read. So if you see, if I go again on this side, okay, and if I go to the resource group again, okay, this is my resource group, for example. Now inside this one, if you scroll down here, you can see we have a lock. Now lock as in, okay, we have a two type of lock as I mentioned. Okay, you can see read only and delete lock. Read only means, okay, if I'm going to apply the read only lock, there is a, like, another user cannot do any changes on this resource group. Okay, they cannot perform any changes. Yes, they can read, they can access, but they cannot perform any changes on this. Like for example, if I'm applying the read only, and then if I'm going to search for, okay, so now see here, if I click on the create, so in that case here now the lock has been implemented on this resource group level. So in that case here you can see, if I'm going to do add some tag, okay, I'm going to do some changes. Like for example, I'm going to write down the environment, and I'm going to put the environment name is development, for example. Now if I'm going to click on save, it will throw me an error, right? Because I'm going to do the right operation this time, I'm going to do the changes, right? So now this time here it is going to throw you error that, okay, here you can click on this and you can see what it is throwing is, please remove the lock and try again. Why? Because we have put the read only lock. You can only read the configuration which is already set up, but you cannot do the changes in the configuration over here, right? After that here, if I remove this lock, for example, I'll go to the lock again. Now here, if I'm going to click on delete, and now no lock. So if I go to the tag over here, and here if I'm going to add now again, okay, so now if I'm going to click on apply, it will allow you to save it, right? You can see now the tag has been added. Okay, environment as a tag. Yeah, now you can see tag has been added. Earlier it was not there because we have applied the read only lock. But now this time here it is able to add it, because this time here we have applied remove the read only lock. Due to the read only lock, you cannot perform some write operation on this case. Right? After that, here you can see we have a delete log also available. Delete log means, yes, you can do the right operation, you can do the certain changes, you can apply the update, all the things, but the thing is you cannot delete this resource group, or you cannot delete that particular service. So if I'm going to put the delete log this time, now you can click on okay. Okay, now here you can see delete log. So in this case, now if I'm going to click on this overview and click on this delete resource group, here you can see if I'm going to put the detail, right? If I'm going to click on delete, now it will throw me an error again that, okay, this resource group test is locked, so you cannot delete it. For deleting it, first remove the lock. Okay, so that's why here you cannot delete. So first is you need to remove the lock, then only you can delete. So that is your lock condition over here. So I'm going to click on delete this. So also the log thing also we can apply or to manage over here. That is one thing. Okay, we have already gone through. Now, tag is also one thing that we have just now discussed with this along with that. So, tag is something that just now I shown you, okay, environment side. So, like the metadata or maybe the information that you want to display with respect to that particular service. For example, okay, if you are purchasing any Adidas T-shirt, there will be a label or there will be a tag available, okay, on the T-shirt that okay, this T-shirt belongs to whom, okay, who will be the owner, okay, or who will be the vendor. So the same thing over here, tags we have available to apply the labeling or to manage the metadata. To see, like here I have created one the tag over here to mention that okay, first of all, this particular tag, okay, this particular resource group belongs to development environment. So later on we can filter it out also, okay, and on the same we can it will be helpful for the billing purpose also. You can take the billing cost also, you can filter out that okay, what are the development resources, for that the cost will be this much for this month, okay, what are the production resources, for that what will be the cost. So that's how something will filter out also on the basis of tags. Although tags are optional, but it is like good to have to do maintain the organization or maybe organize your all the services together. So it's just like a labeling where you are going to put a labels on or the metadata of your service to capture the information, okay, or to that, so later on you can do the filtering on. So that is also one the tag we have. Yes, and one more thing we have is the Azure policy. So Azure policy is basically set of rules that you want to define that should be followed by the organization or as a organization standard. Which means like generally see, okay, in the office you have like okay, go to the proper formal timing will be like 9 to 6 or something like that, or 10 to 6. Okay, and also this will be you have to go to the authentication. You need to keep off your laptop. So these are some organization standard that they are following. Okay, so the same on the Azure also you can set up your own organization, or maybe you can also follow your own policy that should be going to be followed. Okay, like for example here I although Microsoft Azure has 60 plus region across the globe, but as per my project I want that okay, people can deploy their services under these selected 7 region only. Okay, although we have 60 plus regions on Azure, but I want that within my project people can only deploy their services under these selected 7 regions. Then I can create one policies and I can mention okay, deploy your service only in these 7 reason. Apart from that, if the person is going to choose something else, okay, so in that case it is going to be give that policy constraint that okay, you cannot choose any other policy, sorry, you cannot choose any other location in the given list. You can only choose these 7. Same I want to put a constraint or maybe I want to put a policy that okay, people can only use the certain cost services. Okay, it's not like they are going to choose a very high storage or very high volume of compute to be allocated. I want that okay, minimum or maybe normal cost to be consumed. So here I can put the policy that okay, you cannot go beyond this limit. You can only select for these number of services. Like if you are creating a virtual machine on Azure, you have a different series or different sizes are available. Okay, so you cannot choose the maximum one. You have to go with the B1 or maybe small size of virtual machine. So the cost will be less. So accordingly, policies means you can define the set of rules that should be followed. Okay, to make sure the compliance thing. Okay, to make sure the governance thing. To make sure the cost. Okay, management, security, all the thing. So in that case, here it is going to be apply on a resource level, resource group level, or subscription level. Okay, so that is your Azure policy talk. Now here in this module, as we have talked about couple of things, we have talked about the Azure policies, RBAC, resource lock, okay, authentication, authorization, identity, MFA, SSO, okay, and then apart from that, your compliance thing, okay, what the standards or maybe how the organization, the project, it is going to be helpful. Okay, so these are the couple of things that we have discussed. So I am good from my side. If there is any question, I can take it now. We have a 5 minute. Is there any question from anyone?
Hi, Diksha. Hi, hi. I guess there is no question yet. Uh,
Okay.
no. Okay.
Yeah. So we have talked about like couple of things about the access management, security, service management side, okay, and how a new user can be added or groups can be created, identity can be managed. Also, how you can grant access to someone, revoke the access, how RBAC will work, what is role-based access control, what is authentication, what is authorization. So yeah, so I hope you guys got some clarity or some idea about the Microsoft Azure Identity Management. So thank you everyone for joining, and I hope this session will be helpful for you. Okay,
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank
Satar,
you for coming.
over to you.
Thank you for coming. And it was an awesome session. Guys, if you have any doubt, you can connect with her over her LinkedIn. I think she would be happy to help you out. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Uh, we'll meet tomorrow with the DevOps session. Thank you.
Thank you.